In December, the Philadelphia Inquirer reported a number of allegations of inappropriate behavior by State Senator Daylin Leach. Last week, an investigation by Harrisburg law firm Eckert Siemens found numerous examples of unprofessional behavior, but no evidence of breaking the law or sexual harassment. Senator Leach joins us this morning on the Capitol Beat. Thank you so much for joining us this morning to answer some of these questions about the report.
Sure, Matt, thanks.
And your involvement. You have posted the full report, all 26 pages on your website.
Let me be clear.
Facebook page.
I was given a summary of the report, a 26-page summary, which was a PowerPoint. I was never allowed to see the report. My caucus would not let me see it. Everyone else in the caucus saw it. Jay Costa has the report. He's the Democratic leader.
And what has he told you about the report?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. So the report came out, and I always said that the Inquirer story was extremely salacious and misrepresentative, and a lot of people have said that, and the investigation showed that. The only thing, when you talk about unprofessional things, they were talking about jokes that were told in a campaign office 11 years ago, before I was even in the Senate.
This is what the investigation. Yeah, I'm saying the investigation said inappropriate and unprofessional behavior.
But more than a decade ago, and I was not a senator yet. Not one person in the Senate has ever complained about anything I've ever done. Not one person who worked for me in any context has done that. So the report comes back and it says that, and it exonerates me of any charge that I ever harassed anybody or anything like that. And I was gratified. I was going to publish it, which I was told I could do. And then I was called to Jay Costa's office, and he said very clearly, there are some important people who are upset that you're exonerated. So we're going to reopen the investigation. We're going to re-interview some witnesses and maybe see if we can tweak it a bit. Clearly to make me look worse, because he was getting a lot of pressure.
Is there a new investigation ongoing right now?
Well, so I said no. So I don't know. What I said was that you can't reopen an investigation because someone doesn't like the result. And I said, I'm going to publish what I have. And he said to me, if you publish, him and his staff, 2 different times, said that if you publish this, we're going to come after you with everything we have. And I'm like, think about that. He won't release the report, and he threatens me if I release a summary, which only deals with me, no other senators dealt with, only deals with me. But for some reason, if I do that, that's so egregious, they're going to come after me. So that's exactly what they've done.
You said that you feel absolved by what was found in the report, and I'm wondering if you feel criminally you're absolved, but do you feel you did anything wrong?
There was never a criminal. Be clear, Matt. No one's ever accused me of anything. There's no criminal. This was not a criminal investigation.
Well, there was the incident in 1991 that was brought up.
Right, and they found no evidence of a crime there either. There was no evidence of a crime. I've never been charged with anything criminal. These were jokes told in a campaign office in 2008 when George W. Bush was president. And they weren't really jokes. They were banter that everyone was participating in. And frankly, I should have been more careful about that. In a campaign office, you get tired, you're there late at night. There's a lot of gallows humor, you make fun of your opponents. If you've ever been in a campaign office, you know that. Never thought I'd be defending that over a decade later. But in terms of my conduct as a senator, with my Senate office, there's been over 100 people who've either worked or interned for me. 0 have ever complained about anything, ever.
Do you feel like because of what came out in the report 11 years ago, you need to change anything about yourself today?
Well, I've changed it 11 years ago. I mean, I'm much more careful, and I never, joked the way I did in a campaign office in my Senate office. It's a totally different environment. And again, I think if you talk to my staff, I think they will say that I'm not only professional and appropriate, some of them say I'm an inspiring boss. We have one of the lowest turnover rates in the Senate. People are always coming to us and saying, are there openings? Who work for other senators, people, and they say, I would really love to work with Daylin. Because we do important things, we're very productive, and we have a fun office. And my staff has, and they told the investigator clearly that this office is a professional, appropriate office at all times.
The governor, the lieutenant governor, auditor general, Jay Costa, the Senate minority leader, Senate Democrat leader, they've all called on you to resign. Are you going to resign?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because I was elected by the people of 17th District. Political party bosses who don't live in my district have no right to say who my constituents have represent them. They're the ones who decide. I just want to say that we got discovery in the lawsuit because I filed a defamation lawsuit against someone. And it's clear that they're doing this because they've been pressured. There's a small group of people who go to them and say, if you don't call on Leach to resign, we're going to have a bunch of women say that you hate women. And so they're like, oh, well, don't do that. I mean, people have called me resign who've never even heard of me. And the report, again, if you read the report, there's nothing, If resignation should happen because of jokes told 11 years ago in a different profession, then we would have 0 senators in the Senate.
So you've spent most of your political career, pretty much all your political career, being someone that has been very progressive on issues, supportive of women's rights. What is your message to that community that now feels betrayed by you?
The women, they don't feel betrayed. There's a small group of people who don't like me for a variety of reasons. I'm part of the patriarchy, I'm too old, I'm not cool, whatever it is. The vast majority of women are very supportive of me. There have been 6 bills that have advanced the rights of women in the last 20 years in Pennsylvania. 5 of them were mine. You know, I'm going to continue to fight for the causes I believe in, and I think I've been very effective in doing.
After these allegations and the calls for your resignation, which you say you're not going to resign, how do you get colleagues, other senators, legislators on board to take your legislation moving forward seriously enough to work
first
with
of all,
you?
a bunch of people who called me resign called me and said, essentially apologized and said, I'm sorry, but I felt pressured and I can't deal with that. But beyond that, look, I've worked with people who I didn't agree with on everything, almost anything except for the thing we were working on. Mike Fulmer and I passed medical marijuana. We disagree on everything else. I've worked with people I don't particularly like and may not have particularly liked me or whatever, but we're here, we're professionals. We're here to help the people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and I like to think that everyone's a professional, and we can work together to advance the interests that we share. And we don't have to go out for drinks after work or whatever, but I think that I assume everyone's going to be a professional in this situation. There's fights in politics all the time. People who are running against each other have worked together on issues. So I'm not that concerned about that.
State Senator Daylin Leach, thank you so much for joining us and answering some of these questions, which I know a lot of people have wanted to hear the answers from you as well. So thank you very much. Fox 43 Morning News will be right back.